What does awesome mean when you were complimented by an Apple shop sales clerk on your answer to a barrage of his questions? London? Hello, Awesome is a comparative culture essay written by a writer at large of the New York Times who returned to her post in New York office from England after 18 years, and it wraps up with the following episode she experienced back in New York. I was at the Apple store the other day, asking basic technical questions and trying not to take up too much of anyone's mental space. I told the sales clerk that I had to change my address, since I'd just moved back. He asked me a million questions. Why? Where was I going to live? How about my family? How did I feel? He considered the whole thing for a moment. Me, the move, New York, life. Awesome, he said. And I think he really meant it. Oxford Living Dictionaries defines awesome as an adjective meaning extremely impressive or daunting, inspiring awe. 1.1, informal, extremely good, excellent. If I take the sales clerk's reply simply for the latter, what was excellent? Her answer to his questions, or her being back in New York? What does her thought that he really meant it mean? Is this usage of awesome current outside the US as well?
It means I'm not the least bit interested in your miserable, boring life, but I have to say this because I'm told to.
I think the key to understanding that phrase you quoted is another quote from the article. In other developments, available phone numbers ran out, forcing the introduction of unpleasant new area codes. Awesome went from being a risible word used only by stoners and surfers to an acceptably ubiquitous modifier, the Starbucks of adjectives. 20 years ago, someone saying, awesome, or also commonly, totally awesome, dude, was, as the author says, something from the surfer/stoner subculture. It would not get much mileage in mainstream use. Nowadays, particularly among the younger generation, it is very commonly used. You can substitute great or excellent and get the same meaning. However, as the other answers suggest, it can also be used disingenuously, as an oh, that's nice. That's why the author feels the need to clarify, and I think he meant it. To show that the clerk was really saying it was great. What was the clerk saying was great? It could be open to interpretation. Given that the author uses that line to close the article, which is about moving back to New York, I would say they meant it to refer to the move in general.
It means they can't think of anything else to say, but are trying to build rapport with you in a half-naive manner in order to potentially get you to buy something. Either that or they are on Adderall. They don't get commission on it, but their numbers look better and they get respect from their peers when they sell stuff.
There is a possibility that when you pause at the end of a sentence, you intend to end the exchange. Since the other party to the conversation has a vested interest in causing you to continue, but has nothing substantive to contribute, he needs to utter a short encouraging sound. The Neanderthals probably grunted. Divergent cultural evolution led to a variety of forms for this utterance, such as aha, right, and wow, brilliant or awesome. As a result of globalization, these variants are no longer localized, and we wonder whether the forms with which we are less familiar may have some meaning that we do not expect in our native dialect. In fact, they all mean the same thing, nothing.
In the 50s it was neat. In the 60s it was groovy. In the 70s it was far out. In the 80s it was gnarly or bodacious. In the 90s it was awesome. They all mean exactly the same thing depending on tone. Spoken in a normal, calm tone, they all mean good. Spoken with a little more energy and volume, they all mean very good. Spoken loudly, with gusto, they all mean excellent.
If you want to support the channel, please consider subscribing.